mentally or physically, success can be defined as getting up one more time after you've been knocked down over and over and over again. I'm T.Wood, but this is Triumphant Moments, where I highlight significant moments in life that are far beyond the surface to inform, encourage, and inspire people to triumph over their life's challenges. With me today, I have my guy, DJ Demp, who was originally born in Washington, D.C., but raised in Tallahassee, Florida. He is a member of the Ghost Town DJs who are well known for their classic hit 96 record, My Boo. He had a career in radio and has DJed for people like Uncle Luke, Trick Daddy, Lil Flip, David Banner, Trina, Juvenile, just to name a few. Demp has hosted his famous Demp Week for the last 25 years in Tallahassee, Florida. He has also opened Demp House, Anchor Recovery Sober Living, to help individuals with addiction to transitional living. He is a loving father, philanthropist, and humanitarian. Demp, my brother, welcome, welcome, welcome.
What's up, man? What's good?
How you feel, man?
I'm blessed. Blessed to be here.
Okay. I tell you what, I don't know if we could even consider it normal, but let's say Monday through Friday, what does a normal day look like for you? In the mornings, is there a routine you go by? Any ritual? What you do?
Wake up, pray, start my day. That's one of my main quotes that I use in the mornings. That I push out, via Facebook. You'll see that from time to time. But and that's pretty much it. That's how I start my day. I wake up and I just, have my thoughts planned out of what the day brings, unless I already have certain things on my calendar that needs to be handled. So my day is 24 hours. I don't have like a 9 to 5 work day. So my day consists of, it's never complete. I've never had a day where it's like everything is just done. Right. I can stop doing what I'm doing and say, okay, I'm done for the day, but the work is never done. Right. And it's been like that for forever. I think my first break in 25 years or more was when the pandemic hit. That was the first time that I was able to wake up and say, I don't have nothing to do, I'm going back to sleep. That was the first time, and that lasted for a few days into the pandemic. Then people started to get me to do online streaming and DJ services. But yeah, that was the first time. And I had actually wanted that for a long time. I didn't know it was going to come in that form. But I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who said, dang, I wish the world would just slow down or stop for a minute. And I often said that, like, it's just because my day is it's not, everybody knows that 24 hours in a day is really not enough, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying? So I just remember asking for that, and one day I woke up and I was like, I don't have to promote no events because my field, everything was shut down. I'm like, I don't have to promote, I don't have no events coming up. My tour is canceled because I was touring with Juvenile at the time. Like, we don't have any shows. I don't have nothing to promote for. I literally don't have nothing to do. Nothing. And I just said, you know what, I'm gonna lay back. And the only thing, I could have cleaned up the house, but stuff like that. I could have, but that was the first time that, and it was a great feeling to be able to have that break. That was a forced break. That was a great feeling to me. I know some people, it kind of hindered a little bit, but for me, that was like, I was hoping for that time for a long time.
You've been grinding just nonstop, and some people, when they get that sudden, like, I ain't got nothing to do, they panic. It seems like you just stayed kind of calm and cool with it and just kind of adjusted to it.
Yeah, it was cool because I wasn't concerned. I was financially stable. I wasn't concerned with what was coming next. I could have went to sleep and been good. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I have a hustler mentality, so I know I ain't gonna stay down for long, whatever the case may be. I know how to sell water. You know what I'm saying? So So it was cool, but like I said, I needed that break. So when I finally got a chance to get that break, and it was like, it was real. Like, I didn't know it would have came in that form, but it was real. And then, so I didn't do anything. I was kind of upset, because like I said, we did get a tour canceled. And I got shows that got canceled, but we didn't know it was going to last that long. So they kind of gave it to us piece by piece, like, okay, you got 3 weeks out, club shut down for 3 weeks. Then after that part came, they like, nah, we got another month, club shut down. So then after a while, you start wondering, like, okay, well, what's next? You know what I'm saying? So at that point, that's when the entrepreneur really kicked in. Like, you got other stuff you could do. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, my days was, I didn't have no breaks. Every day was promote. Every day was working on what's next. Right. Every day was working on what's next.
Right. I mean, and taking a step back, so you were born in D.C., but primarily raised in Tallahassee, Florida.
Correct. I moved here when I was younger. I moved to Tallahassee when I was younger with my parents. And so that's when, we got out of D.C. I did spend that some time in D.C. I, went to elementary in D.C. and things like that. I remember walking to school in the snow and, going to the Redskins football game and, things like that. Spending time in D.C., but ultimately grew up here. This is where everything kind of started, especially career-wise. This is where everything started at.
Would you say there's, like, how would you describe, I guess, growing up in Tallahassee with the siblings, with certain things, how would you describe your parents? Let's say your parents. How would you describe their style? I'm from the country, Gainesville, Florida, down the road.
Right.
And so my mom had a special way, if I was acting up, of kind of putting me in line. She found creative ways. Some of that was with a switch or something like that, but anyhow, she found creative ways to kind of keep me straight. But what's your folk style? How would you describe the style? Is just your upbringing?
Well, we were, we came from the city. It wasn't country. Like I said, we moved down here from D.C., so it wasn't anything country wise. But and also as far as me and my siblings, we didn't get into much trouble. I probably caused the most trouble out of everybody just from getting into the streets. But other than that, we didn't have too much. So when it came down to discipline, my dad would be the one who did most of the discipline. If I had to get a whooping or something, the whole nine. My mom didn't really do too much, and so that was pretty much it. But I got into some trouble, but I didn't get into much trouble. I wasn't the bad one. I wasn't like, how some people could be. I could have been way worse than I was. Thank God I wasn't, though.
Yeah. You were you the oldest, youngest?
No, I'm third down. So it's one up under. It's one younger than me and two older, all sisters.
I want to switch lanes real quick. Many people don't realize the discipline, like mentally, that is necessary to put together a combination. And I know you've seen me say this before. I've said it on many cases that I always felt you have an elite level of choosing music to compose, to put together, to match together, to kind of set the mood and kind of bring things together. Would you say it's a certain level of discipline needed? Because there had to have been some days that you just didn't feel like, going out there, handling business and doing what you're doing. Were there ever days that you didn't feel like that, but you kept pressing on with that?
I think anything that you might do constantly, you can get tired of. It don't matter what. It don't matter how much you enjoy doing it. Whenever you enjoy doing something, you do it on your terms. Whenever you're forced to do it, then it becomes work. So it's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm, if I'm DJing and I feel like DJing, I could DJ. I DJ for hours. But if I don't feel like DJing and I'm booked to do something, then it becomes a job. You know what I'm saying? So although I love it and it's a passion of mine, you know, depends on how, like you say, how you feel that day. So, but also because I love playing music, it can, if it's something that you don't feel like at the moment and somebody's paying for it, you'll find a way. That money will talk to you, you know. And because I love doing it already, it just, you know, it is what it is. It becomes fun. But yeah, anybody who does that is gonna have those days. When an artist creates, and when I say artist, I'm an artist too as well. But when they say when I'm talking about artists, I mean anybody that creates mentally, physically, or whatever. You know, from songwriter to artist to musician to DJ to whoever, you're creating, you're putting vibes together. You have to be mentally in tune in order to make stuff flow. So yeah, you can have bad days. You know, thank God my bad days weren't as bad. You know, I've had, you know, every DJ goes through those times where your set might not have been as great as the other set was or whatever, but I think probably my worst set was still a good set for some other people to see. So I think I've been blessed enough to have those moments where I might not have done as well, but people still enjoyed what I put together.
Well, I'm one of those folks. I tell you what, when I think about life in general, and I think about all the ups and downs that we go through, can you think of something? It may not be the highest or the lowest, but can you think of something in your life that was something difficult that might have happened, but you found a way to still press forward?
I mean, besides that pandemic, when the pandemic happened, that was difficult for everybody, I think, regardless of what your level of income was. I think that was difficult because it stripped away so much. Some people benefited, some people lost a lot. I was one of those people who both happened. I lost a lot, but I benefited. And the only reason why I benefited was because I said I wasn't going to let myself be defeated by whatever it was. You know, other than that, just recently my dad passed due to you know, COVID caught him, and but appreciate it. But I'm strong, so it's like mentally I dealt with it. Like even before the viewing, I paid attention to. You know, I kept going back and watching videos of him and paying attention to me seeing him, because I was the last one to see him. Right when he died, I was the last one to see him because I went to the hospital. And, you know, so I took that picture and I'm able to just sit there and watch it. And then I understand, you know, so I'm one of the people who understand death. It happens. Everybody's going to go through it. It don't matter what the situation is. You know, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? But it is something that happens. You have to, you know, regardless of how much you prepare for it, it's going to still hurt you. It don't matter what you lose in life. Some things hurt more than others, but yeah, I'm dealing with it. It's fresh. It just happened a week ago, so it's fresh. And you know,
I tell you what, in knowing that, just like you said, it is fresh. You're still here, right here with me. You're still pressing forward. You're still taking care of business and knocking down the parameters of stuff that you have to take care of business-wise, your family. If you were to just think back to what is the key thing or key ingredient for you that has helped you press forward? Because a lot of people have quit and just went up under and just dug up under being hit with someone close to them passing away. So for you, what do you think is something that is key for you that has helped you to press forward in that situation that you was just mentioning, you know, as regards to your father?
Well, you have to understand, death is inevitable, for one thing. You have to understand that. You have to understand that so many people have gone on to a better place, right? My dad died, I didn't. So from here, it's time to carry on. You can't allow yourself to die as well, because if you still living, you still got more things to do. If you allow yourself to die, then I'm not doing my dad any justice. Especially if I'm not his age, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You gotta make it to his age and further. If you feel like you want to have accomplished something, and that's what the goal is. You gotta, whenever you're trying to, carry on a legacy, you got to carry the torch further. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't let that can't stop you. You got to make sure that you stay strong, and you got to keep, if anything, you got to go harder now. I got to go harder now than I did before. So I had the day he died, the morning he died 1:30 in the morning. I didn't get any sleep. I probably went to bed about 5 o'clock. I had to be back up at 9, which during that point, I didn't get any sleep in between then because it just was so fresh. Right. I had to get back up, and I had to perform that day. I DJ'd for Dougie Fresh that day. Right. And I had to have my DJ game face on to perform for somebody who, you know what I'm saying, in front of an audience and for people and all that. And it's just something that you have to do. So there's a lot of things that my schedule still carried on after that. And anything that wasn't on my schedule, those days I just blocked out. I didn't book anything else other than that. Just I could have some me time, but your work has to continue. Like everything has to keep moving forward. Nothing really stops. Nothing stops.
I want to make sure that all the followers and listeners understand what my brother Demp is saying. As his father transitioned physically, Demp knew that he still had to press forward. He's sitting right here with me breathing, and he understood that he had to press forward. It doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. And that legacy that he was talking about, you have to find something within yourself to dig deep and just press forward to uphold that, because that's exactly what your loved one would want you to do.
Right. He was proud of me, so you got to continue making them proud, because they're not going. When somebody dies, they don't just leave. Like there ain't no leaving. So I had to understand that he's still right there. I even the day afterwards, it was weird because I went to sleep and I was dreaming, and he appeared in my dream. But it was almost like I wasn't dreaming. Like when he appeared, he was right there. And I just remember saying in my dream, like, "Oh, so you're not dead." And it was like, cause that's how it really was. A lot of times when you dream, it be real. And I just remember when he came, I was like, "Oh, so you're not dead." And so my sister told me that was really him just saying, "I'm still here with you." That's what it was. But after I woke up, I realized he wasn't right there. But when I was asleep, he came in my dream. It was him right there. That was the day after, and it was real. And so I know that. I know how everything goes, and he always talked about me. Anywhere I go somewhere, they'd be like, "Oh, I just met your dad, and I found out he was your dad because all he does is talk about you, and and the whole nine." So he was proud of everything that I had become, and me and him had the same name, and I was his only son. So it's he ended up looking at me like, whenever you raise a son, I'm raising my son now. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you proud when you see because there's so many different directions you can go in life. So many different paths you could take, and we know some of the wrong paths that we have been forced with growing up. That a lot of times they say you ain't gonna make it past 18, or you ain't gonna make it past. So whenever you see that, and you see, if you see your son becoming successful or being successful and getting accolades after accolades and things of that nature, and you've done the same thing, it makes you proud. You know what I'm saying? Like he started asking me questions about, like, dang, how do you like, he'd come talk to me and be like, "So how do you almost like I'm in an interview," and I'd be like, it's weird because when you talk, once you get to a certain age and you able to talk to your parents as adults versus as a kid, even though you still that kid, the conversation becomes a little different. So I've had many conversations with my dad. So
look, in turning a lane here, you created Demp House. Okay.
Right.
Now, I can say this much, and this is, to help with, the transition in sober living. I know for me, in this personal part, relatives on down the line that have dealt with addictions.
Right.
So when I saw that you pushed for that and you had that happen here, in Tallahassee, it hit me a little different and just a little more than someone hearing somebody say, hey, congratulations. No, it hit me like, wow. Like, you didn't have to do that, but you did. So it was a little big deal for me. But with that said, what, out of anything you could have did, you did that. You created that and you're helping those people. What motivated you to create that and push that, and here we are with Demp House? What motivated you to do that?
I had a business partner, a real G for a business partner. I ain't gonna even lie. I found my business partner during the pandemic, right? And she's a business owner. She's an entrepreneur. She's a hustler, a grinder, everything that you can name, coming from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about from the ground up. She has her own story. Like, when I talk, I can go on and on and on about conversations. You know what I'm saying? That's why we got long-winded about my dad, because there's so many stories within a story. Wow. So this particular one, I meet my business partner while I'm DJing on live for the AKAs. She's in there now. The on live thing was brand new to me. Okay. So I'm DJing on live for the AKAs, and she's in there because my live was public also. Oh, excuse me. My live was public. Right. So I can remember her commenting. She was one of the ones that had tipped me, you know what I'm saying? And we end up she asked me would I help her do a mask initiation. We was distributing masks. This is at the beginning of the pandemic when nobody, I don't know if you remember, when the pandemic hit in March of 2020, nobody had masks. You couldn't find masks nowhere. You couldn't find them. There was nobody that had them. So she was able to get them because her company is a medical facility. So she was the only one who had access
I was just about to say.
to getting the masks because they wasn't giving them to nobody else. So she was like, will you help me put them out? And I was like, nah, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't want to do that, I'm cool. I wasn't thinking on it in a larger scale. I was just like, like I said, at this point in time, this is my chill time. I don't work. I don't feel like doing no more work right now. I'm chilling. So I thought about it, and she asked me again. She was like, yo, you won't have to do any work, just send everybody to me, and I could do the work. And I was like, well, if I send anybody to you, these my people. I got to follow up to make sure they good. So I'm going to still end up working. Come to find out, I still end up working. You know what I'm saying? So we end up building that kind of partnership and everything like that, and it grew from there. And she came to me one day, and she was like, she used to do a fundraiser banquet, and her fundraiser banquet was during the middle of the pandemic, and so it wasn't going to allow her to happen. And I was also in my mind planning for Demp Week, and she came to me the idea, and she was like, "Yo, you want to move my banquet? We can do it together. We can move the banquet over to Demp Week." And I thought about it. I was like, "Well, yeah, we could do something like that." And then she came to me with the idea of opening up a sober living house. She has 10 million ideas.
Just out of nowhere, I was about to ask you.
She has 10 million ideas, and sometimes I have to slow her down because she's one of those people who has a creative mindset, and she just goes. And so she's able to create things out of brands. She got 10 million ideas. You know what I'm saying? So she came to me with the idea of the sober living house. This is something she had been wanting to do because of the business that she owns. She deals with addiction and addiction counseling and things of that nature. She's already familiar with it because her brother, people in her family have been addicts, and her brother was one who inspired her to start her Anchor Recovery Center, which is addiction counseling and things of that nature. So they help people struggling from addiction, any type of addiction, alcohol, drugs, whatever. So she came to me with the idea of doing a sober living house, and I said, I thought about it, and it went right along with everything that I already do, because I'm already giving back to the community. I've already done feeding the homeless. I've already done the anti-bully rallies. I already, mentor kids. But this was something that was a little bit different. And although I didn't really understand until later on, I end up saying, some told me to say yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I said yeah, and then we planned for everything. We planned to have this fundraiser banquet so that way we can raise funds to open up the sober living house. Long story short, we did the fundraiser banquet for Demp Week. We didn't really raise any funds, but the information was already out there. So we probably raised enough funds to pay for the entertainment for that night, the food, whatever. But we didn't raise any funds to go toward the house. So I'm like, so now we sitting there scratching our head like, okay, well, what do we do now? We didn't already put it out there that we're opening up this sober living house in February, but we hadn't raised any money to do that. So I'm like, well, I'm not one of them people who let anybody else dictate what I do. I'm not an asker. I'm not a beggar. You know what I'm saying? I will, well, I can't say I'm not an asker. I will allow somebody to help, or I will ask one time, but I'm not going to beg. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's a big difference. So, so I said, you know what? we just going to buy the house. We just buy the house. And so then we end up linking up with some of the biggest builders in Tallahassee, and we found a home instead of building one because it was going to take too long. We was already in a time period, so we ended up finding one, and we end up buying a home, and then that's how Demp House. That's how we end up getting the first house, but that was pretty much it. It's a blessing, really, man.
I was about to ask you, has it been rewarding?
It's rewarding for the residents. I know a lot of people have these homes and they're government funded, so they don't have to do nothing but sit back and collect checks. But mine is not government funded. Mine is out of pocket. So I've spent a lot of money. I haven't gained any money from it, but I'm not concerned about that. You know what I'm saying? Because the rewards for me comes from the blessings that I put out. You know what I'm saying? So for me, seeing my recovery rate, and I can't even say the recovery rate because we just opened not too long ago, but the relapse rate is at 100%, no relapses since I've been open. We do random drug tests every week for the residents.
Could you tell them what, just for people who don't know, you said 100% no relapses or 100%?
No relapses. So that means normally when you have, they'll tell anybody who has a sober living house, they'll tell you, yo, prepare for the relapses because there are going to be, people who will relapse. There's going to be people who, because these are drug addicts we're talking about. So there's going to be people that it's going to be hard or whatever. But we put together a different type of program so you have accountability. You know what I'm saying? You have to hold yourself accountable for everything that you do. You can't live in my house. You can't live in Demp House if you've tested positive for any type of drugs. You can't live in Demp House. You know what I'm saying? So they know that could get them kicked out. That's one thing that you have accountability for. Knowing that you're gonna have these random drug tests, knowing that this is your livelihood,
yes.
The whole nine. So since we've had the residents in the home, every week that they test, everybody has been testing negative. Everybody's been testing negative. So far, I'm crossing my fingers because addiction is lifetime. That's a lifetime role. So you got to be, people can relapse after 2 years. People can relapse after, you know. So I'm crossing my fingers, but at the same time, for the type of pushback that I've gotten from the beginning of me doing it, I've gotten a lot of praise, don't get me wrong, but there's always anything that you do in life, there's probably somebody told you couldn't do your podcast or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get your people. You just gotta focus on what you're doing, and you gotta go and do it. So like I said, everybody has been doing good. I got, you know, everybody has jobs. The last person who didn't have a job, I got him hired on the spot, just off of face value of me. Took him in, got him hired. They love him at the job. He's been doing great. And he was so happy one day. He texted me. He said, "Good morning." He said, "First, I want to tell you, I'm thankful." He said, "Because I know." He said, "First off, good morning. Second, I want to say I'm thankful because I know what I would have done with my check once I got it." He said, "I know what I would have done with my check." He said, "But not now. Not now. I'm paying for things that I need and things that are bettering me." And he said, "Thank you." And that just meant a lot. You know what I'm saying? That means more than that check. Like I said, I've spent out so much money. Just furnishing the place costs thousands of dollars. I had a 6-bedroom house, you know what I'm saying? And I furnish it out of pocket. No government grant money, no nothing. Anybody who's furnished a 1-bedroom apartment know how much it costs.
Exactly.
Knows how much it costs. You know how much a bed costs by itself and everything. So everything from the paintings to the affirmations to, so now I look at things different when I walk into a place. I look at artwork. I look at, you know, different things like that because I've gotten drawn into that atmosphere of home decor. And, you know, even from doing my own crib and people walking in and be like, "A female helped you with this?" And I'm like, nah.
Why do you always assume that?
I don't know. Like, I ain't got the skills or something. I don't know what they got. I don't know what they be thinking. You know, I do this. You know what I'm saying? I do this. You know, but also I'm an artist, so I know how to put colors together, and I know what looks good, and I know what, you know what I'm saying, and. You know, everybody, I don't mind taking any direction from somebody else because my mom did come in and sometimes she might be out and she'll see something and she'll take a picture of it and she'll be like, "What about this?" And I'll be like, "Oh, that looks good." And she'll get it for me. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't mind taking any direction of stuff that I might not see or whatever. But, you know, I'm pretty good at what I do.
Look, I tell you what. I want to point the direction of HBCUs. Mm-hmm. What we got to understand, y'all, okay, you in your profession, you get to see and not just see, you actually create the vibe, the mood, the whole scenery as far as how things kind of move and groove to the celebratory side of many people who are a part of HBCUs and the celebrations and the good times, you know, to kind of help us get through whatever we get through. Because when we come together and we can have fun with music being played, the combinations of music that you're putting together, knowing that you've seen in your lifetime the different amounts of folks who attended HBCUs in that celebratory atmosphere, what is your opinion on the importance of HBCUs?
The importance of HBCUs is to help us further. I think the importance of HBCUs is to help us understand the importance of our culture, of our culture of people, so that we understand and we can uplift each other, and also help out. You know, without it being undivided, that we can actually help each other further in life. You know what I'm saying? It's HBCUs really it should be a network of people. Once you go, man, it's been crazy because I've landed in so many different places and people will say, I used to go to FAMU, man, and I used to be at your apartment, but I'm talking about, it don't matter whether I land in the Bahamas or land in Jamaica or land in California, you know. Yeah. I used to go to FAMU, man, and man, we used to party at the moon. So many people so many people graduate from HBCUs, and I'm not just going to limit it to HBCUs. This is any college, but we speaking on HBCUs right now. So, because we got our brothers and sisters who don't attend HBCUs that go on and become,
and it's still love.
Successful, and it's still love because of what we do. But I think with that HBCU, man, that brotherhood and sisterhood that you can gather from being around these people from day one, from the time you touch down in college.
There you go.
These people don't have.
There you go.
They don't have their MBAs. They don't have. They're not doctors. They're not lawyers. They're not. They don't have this when they touch down. So everybody's in the same playing field once they get to school, right? You going to lunch with these people. You partying at the clubs with these people. You taking the shuttles. You doing everything. You walking the campus in class with these same people, and then 4 years, 6 years down the line, all of these people that you've made connections with end up becoming very successful, and now y'all can bounce ideas off of each other and become even bigger. So to be honest, man, the HBCU is very, and some people don't take advantage of it like that. And when I say take advantage, they don't utilize the tools that were put in front of them to understand, the resources to understand it. That's why your network is your net worth. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about the energy that you put out and the connections that you make that will get you. Being humble and making connections will get you further in life than a lot of other stuff. I'm talking about way further. It's not about who you know. It's about who know you and the respect that they have for you. That will get you into many doors.
Yes, sir.
It will get you a lot of places. And people, some people don't understand it. Your skills might not be up to par, but your attitude and your humbleness might get you in that right door to where you can actually further yourself. And then, like I say, when you're talking about HBCUs, these people, man, we got so many. You gotta think one. Look at Will Packer. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking on my brother Will. Look at Will Packer, who's come out to be a multi-millionaire, big movie producer from from FAMU. Right here at FAMU, and he's been able to create movies and put people of likeness in these movies. You know what I'm saying? Where he don't have to worry about, if you at a casting, you know what I'm saying, you got to compete with different people. He can actually put you in position. And that's what we need. This is what we need when it comes to doctors, lawyers, and things of that nature. And I don't think some people get it, but at some point I hope they will, because we actually are the ones who will further ourselves.
Thank you.
We don't have to worry about keep asking for handouts from people and the whole nine. We've done the blueprint. If you don't pay attention to what's going on, we are the blueprint.
Yes.
We are the blueprint. We've been that way for a long time. Nobody can hold you back. You're responsible for your own career. Nobody can hold you back. It don't matter how many doors close in your face.
Said it so many times on so many occasions that you actually have everything that you need right here. You got it. You got it in you. You're surrounded by it. You have everything you need. Are you really using it?
Are you using it? Are you looking for a handout? You know what I'm saying? Are you using it? Are you looking for a handout? Everybody was blessed with a present. You got to unwrap your present. You got to unwrap your present to the world. You are a present and a gift to the world. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I've started multiple businesses that I would have never in my life imagined I would have had until this pandemic happened. I got a honey business that's successful. I got a COVID testing business that's successful. I got my merch that I would have I'd never even thought about selling my merch, you know what I'm saying, until the pandemic happened. And I wore one of my shirts and people was like, I wanted to buy that, you know what I'm saying? And the Demp House thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that if the pandemic hadn't happened, I would have still been doing my regular routine of on tour, because that was enough for my schedule. That was enough for me to come home and be like, oh, I'm tired, I got to get ready for the next day. Just my regular schedule, because I was, like I said, I was booked up from March all the way through the end of the year. My calendar, I could look at my calendar and see it, you know what I'm saying, already. So I knew my off days or my on days or whatever, and those were those are relaxed days. But yeah, man, like people have to utilize. For one, you have to work hard. You got to understand nothing is a handout, and then you got to utilize your connections. Yeah. And then if you don't, and you're not always going to be connected, so sometimes you have to be the connection.
Ooh, Jew alert.
Yeah, and that's just how it is. But when you make those friends, the right people will make your life so much easier. I've had my partner Vol with me, and he's seen it firsthand just by me having a name. The name and the respect level from the name will get you things that you don't even have to pay for.
Are y'all listening?
You don't even have, sometimes you could walk into a place, you could walk past the biggest line, you could be outside with no ticket to something and somebody gonna come give you a ticket. All these things, and I've experienced it so many times. I walked in the restaurants and the manager come out the back and be like, "Oh, don't worry about it, he's on me."
See?
You know what I'm saying? And just out of nowhere.
And see, there's a level of, would you say that there's a level of, in coming up and grinding, was there ever a level of humility that you showed, and I guess in humbleness, or I guess in certain areas of your life and the relationship that you built?
That's every day. I don't look at myself in a celebrity sense. I'm still trying to get a grips with that, what everybody else sees. People often have to tell me, "You don't understand, you Demp." Like, I don't feel it. I don't feel it because I'm so humanized. I'm so grounded that I don't feel it. I have to be reminded all the time. Right. That's why I don't move around with security. Not for everything. Sometimes it depends on where I'm going. If I need some people moved, right. I got my personal security, but I don't just walk around with security all the time. I usually move places solo. Right. I'm a man of God. That's how I move. And I greet everybody the same. I'm an introvert, so it's gonna be hard it ain't gonna be easy to just talk to me. But at the same time, you could be a perfect stranger. If you spark up a conversation with me, we can have this dialogue. We can have this, and we could talk about just about anything. It don't matter what subject it's on, and I could be talking to a complete stranger. But that's just how I am. You know what I'm saying? So I treat everybody the same. It don't matter the blue checks on my page. When somebody DM me, I hit them back, and they be surprised, like, "Oh shit, I didn't know you was gonna respond." Well, I'm human. I'm not trying to be. I could be an asshole. I'm sure at times. I'm sarcastic, but at the same time, I think that's human. But for the most part, I think I try to give everybody the same respect that I would want, or that I've seen myself coming up. You know what I'm saying, that I've gotten or have given. Right. And that's kind of,
I tell you what, in speaking about that level of care, humility, and things of that such, you have this thing for wanting to consistently help within the community and the youth. What inspires you or pushes you to do that? People tend to do things here and there, but no, you stay active in doing things within the community and doing things for the kids and stuff like that. What motivates you in that area, in helping out the youth so much?
I can't even say what motivates me, because I don't know. It's the love for seeing somebody else get to that next level. Like everybody, sometimes people need a little push. Sometimes people need, if when you have to start that clutch car, yes, and it's just sitting there and you can't do nothing. But if you push it and you can jump it off, yeah. Sometimes people just need that little push to get them going to the next. Then they want that engine started, they can go on their own. I feel like that about everybody, no matter what it is. I just have that soft spot in my heart for kids. Not even just kids, but anybody, like that. And you can't help everybody. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm just Superman. I ain't helping everybody now. But at the same time, I understand because I was once that person. You know what I'm saying? I was once that person who probably needed that kickstart. Or actually, I have needed that kickstart. Like, I can't even say I've had much help, you know what I'm saying, in my career. I've had a lot of help. And so how dare me to not extend that to other people. Right. And it's not going to come in the form of just gimme, gimme, gimme. It don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a genuine situation. And that's what it is. Right. I'm just that person. Like, I'm like that. If I see somewhere I can help you, and I feel like you have a humble.
Thank you.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, that you humble about it, that you ain't just trying to use me.
Thank you.
I'm gonna help you. That's just what it is.
Right. I tell you what, if anyone wants to follow you, what are your social media handles? If anyone wants to follow you, see what's going on, and get an update on things that's going on with Demp House and just other products and stuff like that you have going on. What are the websites or social media handles?
Everything is DJ Demp, DJ DEMP. Everything is all my handles are DJ Demp. If you type in DJ Demp, you'll be able to find my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Snapchat.
Not DJ Demp 1 2 3 4.
Not all the 1 2 3 4s, and not whatever all the extras on stuff and underscores and all that. It's just DJ Demp. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Like, that's.
Well, I tell you what, there's something I created, just a phrase that I use to encourage folks. I call it encouragement for free. Is there anything that, whether we talked about it here in this conversation, this episode, or something that you might have grew up, that your mother or your father implemented in your life, and just some words of wisdom, what is some encouragement for free that you could provide to all the listeners and the followers right now? No matter what it is.
Pay attention, stay humble, keep grinding. Don't let the words no deter you from furthering whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, because success doesn't come overnight, but it's gonna come. As long as you stay focused and stay grinding, it can happen. It don't matter. It's almost like waiting on your bag at the airport. Some people get their bags first and they walk off. So you might sit there and the thing might come around a couple times. But when your bag fall out, you get your bag and go. So it's gonna come. Success doesn't happen overnight. Is all I can say. It might happen at night though. But
I tell you what. Before we leave out of here, I gotta say it again. Just from me to you, you taking our time. I don't take that for granted. You taking our time in your day to come in and to be willing to do something to encourage, the stage I created. Man, it's much love, and I appreciate it. We all do. I just want to throw that out there.
No doubt. I appreciate you for having me, and I got a lot going on, so I hope we answered enough questions, or I hope everything was interesting enough for people to to take anything from what we've said today.
Oh yeah. Any upcoming thing that you have that people need to know about? Is there anything that you participate in part of?
Well, I like the fact that I'm one of the Remy DJs. So shout out to Remy Martin. I'm one of the Remy DJs. I've been doing that for. I've had a year contract, and it looks like they've extended the contract. Awesome. So I'm doing that. Also, I'm getting ready for my 25th anniversary of Demp Week, which is coming up January 2022.
Let's go.
25 years strong. When I wouldn't even imagine 25 years. That's the silver anniversary. So I got to do something special. I'm working on that right now, and other than that, just everything else is just grinding. You can look for more businesses. Honeydemp.com. Honeydemp is my honey website. I sell all raw, organic honey, and that's pretty much it. Like, other than that, you might see something else coming. Stuff be just popping up, man. something pop up and I feel like it could fit into my schedule, I'm gonna go with it, because multiple streams of income is the best way for an entrepreneur. You know, it all add up at some point.
That's real. That's real. As I always say to all the followers and listeners, and from my brother DJ Demp, sometimes in life you must fail in order to succeed, but one thing must remain certain. Under no circumstances do you ever, ever, ever give up. Trying for Moments with T.Wood, I'm with my brother DJ Demp.
Yo, pleasure.